Go. All right. Yeah, this challenge is funny because people just tend to follow along with the replays, I guess. It's
Yeah.
very hard to find times that fit for everyone. So here come the slides. Can you see those, Vera?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, ladies, welcome back. Second call of the Spark Challenge. It's been so nice to see your reflections and your celebrations and your introductions in the WhatsApp group. It's so nice to be having that kind of active space. So thank you for trusting me with your mobile numbers and joining, because I know sometimes it can be a bit hesitant. People use them for funny purposes, but yeah, I can assure you it's just a friendly chat. So if you're not in that chat and you want to be, just send me your number and I will add you. As many of you, well, I know many of you caught the replay from call one, but I want to let you know that if you haven't yet, that's fine. None of the calls don't build on each other. They're all just new information. So you're still on time. So you've got that there whenever you're ready. Today we are diving into a skill that has been really, I had a lot of resistance to it at the start because it's so oversaid and overdone, I feel, but it really was one of the most powerful turning points, I'd say, in my relationship when I really started to get it. So I'm really excited to share that with you. But before we do, we might do a little check-in. Well, actually, we only have one woman on the live at the moment. But Vera, would you like to check in? Have you noticed any shifts? I had some beautiful shares in the WhatsApp group, but I would love to ask you while you're here now, anything you've noticed?
I've just been very mindful of my self-care. And yeah, I usually do get into a lot of net, and I'm trying to get rid of it by doing actually physical things. So I've
Hmm.
gone yesterday, I did a walk, um, went on to the gym, I went swimming. So today I think I'm going to be doing the same, although Pilates, I'll try Pilates today, a lesson.
Nice. Cool.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and probably a walk as well in the afternoon.
Good for you. It does help, doesn't it? The physical stuff on the self-care list for sure. I really
Yeah.
noticed when I had like dropped that off.
Hmm.
So yeah, good on you. I guess you can't fight the biological the biological fact of like endorphins
Yeah.
sprinting around your body after a good bit of movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also I'm being really mindful of getting on his paper when sometimes when I'm doing really mundane tasks like the dishwashing, things
Yeah.
like that. And I'm thinking of like, oh, what's he doing now? Or why did he do this? Why didn't he do that? And I'm all over his paper and I have to just stop myself. And I
Yeah.
can really fall back like and then try and get evidence of the thing I'm focusing that on that moment. And it
Mhm.
can go far back like years ago. And then he did that,
Mm.
this. And it just seems to me that I'm doing it when I'm doing the mundane tasks a lot. Like I'm just in my
Right.
head somewhere else all over his paper. And then I'm trying to be mindful to just stop and be like, okay, think of something more positive.
Well, today's going to really help you with that. But I hear you. It's like when we take the foot off the consciousness pedal, like I'm consciously doing this or that. When you go into autopilot, the
Yeah.
default settings are very interesting. So, it's great awareness that, oh, my default setting is a little bit past related, a little bit negative maybe, or like associated with certain stories. So that's
Yeah.
a great piece of information that you can work with. Today's for you, Vera. This is going to be the skill and the tool that you need. So I hope you've got a pen and paper.
Yeah.
Um, so thank you for sharing it. It's great. I mean, that's one of the things I put like in the homework, right? Like just try to build a relationship. Oh, you didn't see the video. Vera didn't get the recording. So if anyone else is in Vera's boat, I'll go back and check in my system after this call, but please let me know. But yeah, this is one of the things that we talked about. So anyway, today is the day. So where am I on my notes? Yeah, if you are, most of you here will be watching this as a replay. So just make sure that you do have a pen and paper today because we're going to be doing a little bit more workshopping. So as I said, we're focusing on the skill of gratitude. and we're going to talk about the power of a spouse fulfilling prophecy, or an SFP, we call them. Now, if you've read the book, you will be familiar with these. This is something that Laura has kind of come up with. So yeah, we're going to be talking about SFPs and how these can create, they're a subtle shift in the way that we speak about our partner, but it creates an enormous ripple effect in how he actually shows up. So while yes, yesterday we were talking about how when we bring the change, he naturally responds, but we stay focused on ourselves. The skill of gratitude does, I mean, obviously impact them, right? Like, who doesn't want to be feeling grateful for? So you'll notice when you play with this skill, a direct change in the way he responds to you, hopefully in positive. And so towards the end, I'm also going to share something that I've created just for you Spark ladies. And this is just a way that you can take the work a little bit deeper in your own relationship, the things that we've been talking about this week, with some personal support. So it's not a program. I've got a baby on the way, and I'm in the process of launching something new with a friend. So I'm not pitching like anything crazy big new programs, but I do have an opportunity if you want to learn more about that. So, okay. I want to go to my next slide is what I want to do. I'm not going to do the live check-in because we only have Vera on the live. This is the funniness of these global communities. So today, gratitude. I will be honest, as I said, when I saw gratitude as a chapter title in the book, I really almost eye rolled at it. I was like, you see gratitude everywhere, yoga studio walls, journals. Like it's so in our face that I think I'd become very, very desensitized to it, and hadn't really bothered to think about what does it really mean, and why is it so important? Why is everybody talking about it? I was just kind of over it. So I was like, another journal, another forced gratitude list, and my lists would be really repetitive. I'd start just, I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for the sun coming out today. It was getting so dull, and I really didn't see how it was going to shift anything in my relationship. But when I really understood this and its impact, really in the context of my relationship, it shifted so much. And it's why I have, selected it as a focus this week. Laura often says that gratitude, she calls it the double duty skill. It took me a long time to really grasp what she meant. But I get it now because, like I was just saying, unlike the other intimacy skills, which are really primarily focused on us, on our well-being, on our radiance, our dignity, of course, because we're getting in touch with these things. But we are also, giving our partner this us happy. And believe it or not, because I didn't believe it at the start, this is his deepest desire. This is one of the most important things to your man, and something that he will naturally do more when he gets more feedback. So gratitude does directly impact them. So if you think about even a time where something that you did made somebody else feel really grateful, how did that feel? It feels so good, even though you had to be the one doing something for someone else. You're the giver. You also get to receive, because it just is so nice to know that you've had that beautiful impact on somebody else. So that's the gift of gratitude. It does create a really beautiful cycle of positivity and connection. Instead of focusing on what's missing, we start reinforcing the things that we love. And it's actually as simple as that. We call it like a focus shift. This is the skill we go to when we can see a client is struggling with her focus. That's why, Vera, when you're talking about when you're doing the dishes and your focus is wandering, I'm thinking straight away, my coach's brain is like, gratitude. So that's why I said today is for you. It really is about just realigning our thoughts and actions and energy in a direction that's going to serve us and our husbands or partners. And as a result of that, they will feel, you'll see more inspired to start showing up in ways that make our relationships just better. And we will feel more inspired as well. So that's the double duty, not just about what he does for him, also that powerful tool for us, pulling us out of resentment, out of worry, out of, over analyzing the past. And it grounds us in the present, what we have going on for us now, and really appreciate what's good in our relationships, in our men, and in ourselves. And it also helps us to clarify our desires, what we want moving forward, because that can be different. Like, we don't have to pick up the past and put it into our future. We can choose differently. And so when we come into gratitude, it helps us to let go of one and refocus and get clarity around what we want to call in, what we want to move towards. And that helps us to communicate that, like did we touch on desires? Yeah, we touched on desires, thinking about the things that we want and coming from a place of openness and connection and excitement and possibility and hope versus being stuck in, I never have this has never happened, it's never going to be like this way, I guess I'll have to live with it, all these kinds of thoughts, which are very, very unproductive to the intimacy that we're trying to create. So ultimately, it is changing our energy. It's moving us from being closed off and I would say fearful, very much discouraged, to hopeful, inspired, and open. That's where the change is going to happen. So focusing on what's yeah.
Are you-
What
I don't know
happened?
if it's my internet or your internet, I don't know.
I think it was mine. We
Oh,
just got 5G like last week, and I'm sitting right next to the modem, so I will be
okay.
changing providers if that happens again. Sorry, ladies. Okay, recording. Are we still recording? Yes. Okay. Scary. This is like new country, new office, new things. Very unsettling. Okay, I was going to say, I want to share a personal story to illustrate how powerful this skill was for me, because I remember the day that I really kind of got it. I remember exactly where I was sitting. I was sitting on some grass in a park one evening. This is where I used to go for my private calls to get away from my partner and kids. And I was halfway through coach training, so I'd already had, like, I wouldn't say my miracle, but I'd re-engaged in my relationship. We had restored the intimacy, the bickering had ended. We were in a good place, and I was feeling very hopeful. I still had a lot of work to do for bringing in the things that I really wanted, but the things that I didn't want had been cleared out. So I was in this nice little space, enrolled in the coach training, learning about how to bring it to life more and how to share the work with others. When I just kind of realized, oh my God, I'm back to where I started. I was really, really discouraged, and I was telling her, I don't think this is going to work for me. It just felt like no matter what I tried, I couldn't shake these negative beliefs I had about him and about the relationship. I couldn't shake them. They were like a hard reality, a truth. They were a belief. They were not something, they weren't gray. It was black or white, and I couldn't get past them, and they were really consuming. I would say now when I look at it, I was actually addicted to them. I was constantly scanning for evidence that I was right about these things. I wanted to be finding the evidence that, I was right that he wasn't stepping up, that I was right that he wasn't affectionate enough. I was right that things weren't going to change, because it was easier for me to be right than it was to actually change these things myself. I didn't have the discipline. And when I found even the smallest piece of evidence, I would latch onto it, because again, it meant I was right. I could be in blame. I could be free from action. It was so much easier. Um, at this point, I also remember what else did I have here to add? Yeah, I just, sorry, just looking at my notes, I said I was living in anticipation of these moments. It was almost like that's why I say I was addicted to them. It was like I needed them. I needed to find more evidence to continue to be right, to continue to like stay in the blame and stay free from responsibility, I think, because my life was busy and I didn't really want to make big changes. So I was really living in anticipation of them, which essentially means I was expecting him to fail. I was expecting the relationship to fail. And I was right, because that's what I was looking for. Um, so at this point as well, I had stopped showing like physical affection, really. I was kind of feeling unattracted to him. I was just off. I was really off. And I was very wrapped up in that frustration, because I knew that sex and physical intimacy was such a big part of a relationship. It's something that I really wanted. And so again, I made that about him. It was his fault that we had lost that. So I was very, very flat and I was feeling very hopeless again. And that was when my coach, who I'd had many sessions with, I knew the skills. As I said, I was already studying them. She starts going towards gratitude. I was just thinking, no, like, must be another way. There must be something else. How is this going to help me? He's the problem. Did you not hear what I just said? Look, here's all these things. Are you not listening? Anyway, she had no time for changing the course of the call. Like she was just like, she was set on it. And I remember thinking, I'm paying a lot of money for this. These sessions are usually really valuable. And I'm sitting there just not saying anything. And she's not moving either. And I'm thinking, okay, the time is ticking. Like the only option I have really here is to give it a go. I'm going to have to try. So I start trying to write a gratitude list, and it was so hard. It took me a long time to get, the first ones were like pulling teeth, get a couple, but I started to get into a little bit of a flow. I started to look at things that weren't necessarily directly involved, like with me. I started to look at things like the way he parents, the way he works, the way he is with his friends. Started to look at other areas just to get the momentum going. And suddenly I had 16 things. And what I noticed was that what was so surprising, I guess, the thing that I noticed that was so surprising was how different I felt in my body. I like couldn't believe it. I actually felt relief, as if this was my natural way. This was like the natural place I should be, being, and that I had been choosing something that was off. Like I had been taking myself out of alignment. This sounds a bit corny, but it was like my heart was like, ah, thank you, like oxygen for my heart. It really felt like weirdly natural when I got going. And so that was the first time that I really saw that gratitude wasn't this thing that I had to do for him. It was actually a tool for me. It really shifted my thoughts, obviously. It took a lot of discipline. But as I said in a message to one of the ladies this morning, I think it was to Christine on the WhatsApp chat, there's a real difference that you'll learn between discomfort and inauthenticity. So when you're trying to pull these gratitudes out, it can feel like, oh God, it shouldn't be this hard. He's obviously not that great. This feels inauthentic. I'm just looking for breadcrumbs. Like it feels inauthentic. But what I could see there was that it was actually just discomfort. I hadn't been doing it at all. I had a very long and ingrained pattern of being critical and looking for things that were less than perfect. So yeah, it really showed me in that session the power of this skill. And I've shared this story many times because it was like the shift for me. It was the time, it was the day that I realized why gratitude was so overdone, because it's important. So yes, the more I focused on it, the better I felt. The better I felt, the easier it was to share my appreciation. Those times where you do notice things that you want to appreciate, but you're just like, nah. They don't deserve it. It's too hard. I don't know. For me, gratitude is very vulnerable. Like sharing gratitude is actually quite hard. But the more I was feeling it, the more easier it was, and the more things I started to notice. So you can see that's where I get this idea of this cycle, because suddenly it just starts to flow. And I remember he started to say thank you and share his appreciation a lot. And I remember this weird day where someone said thank you for something, and then the other person said, "Oh, thank you for saying thank you." And it was almost like too much. We were just like, where have we got to? It was really, really funny. We were getting thanked for thanked and seen and appreciated for all sorts of these tiny little things that before were just assumed, if I'm the one picking up the pasta at the supermarket, it's just because I'm the one going past the supermarket. I didn't need gratitude, but I was getting it and it was nice. It was really nice. And one day we were sitting with a friend and she asked Andrew what he thought about all this Laura Doyle stuff. And he said, I'm more inclined to do the things that she wants now that I'm not being berated all the time. So, and once he started to feel appreciated for things, he started doing the things I wanted. Whereas before, I felt like I could express anything I wanted and he would deliberately not do it. So I really feel like we, obviously, but we with gratitude as well, have such a powerful influence on them. It really impacts them. So that's why I say it's really, really important. So that's my story about how I learned the importance of gratitude. So, well, actually, I didn't specify, but she made me write a list. So, as I said, I got to 16. So, that's what we're going to do now. So, I want you to do this same exercise that she had me do, which is very simple. We're going to aim for a list of 20 things. So, this list is going to focus on your partner, even if you are separated. Maybe you're co-parenting, or maybe you're just wanting to restore the relationship. It doesn't matter. We're going to focus on him. And even if things feel challenging, there's always going to be something to find. So as I said, I started to look at other areas outside the relationship just to get a bit of momentum going. It helped me to just cut the cord that was making it really hard. So you can start thinking back to what first drew you in. What did you really love about him at the start? I remember, like, I had this text that I used to copy and paste to my friends about this amazing man I met, and it had all these qualities. I tried to find it for my wedding speech. I couldn't find it, but I try and remember what was on there. A passion for philosophy. He played guitar. He was fit and sexy. Like, how attractive I was to him, and I didn't feel those things at the time, but I remembered them, and I would put them on my list. I remember feeling like this. He was still those things. So go back to the start, go to other areas, just look in all directions. You can also focus on really small everyday things like making your coffee in the morning or working hard for your family. And if you are currently separated, as I was saying, just shift your focus to what's going well in the dynamic. Maybe you are maintaining peace or you're co-parenting really effectively. So if you're watching a recording, just pause, take a few minutes. Don't put this on the homework to do later list. This is your time now. So pause the video and just reflect and write your list. So Vera, I'll let you right away now, and then we're going to share a few things. I'll write some too so that Vera has an opportunity. And I don't have a pen. Okay, I'll think of them. And then we'll do a little share. I'm going to tell a story. You keep journaling away. When I started reading the book, I was in a really small town in New Zealand, in Whangamata. There's a lot of Kiwis on the call. And somehow, miraculously, there were 3 other women in my town who were also experimenting with the skills, which I thought was quite incredible for a small town. And so we started meeting once a month. The first time we met in a bar, we very quickly realized, okay, these conversations need to be happening in private. But I remember this day in the bar, we were like, well, hi, everyone. Like, what should we talk about? Like, what is the agenda for these meetings? And we decided, well, why don't we just make a start by going around and sharing something that we're grateful for about our partners? We're like, okay, that's cool. So we went around the circle. Then we're like, oh, we went again. We went again. And before we knew it, we had been there for 3 hours. They were literally like cleaning up around us, sharing nothing but gratitude. And that was when I realized the power of this practice. Was something really interesting happened. Like one of the things that would happen would be, you're sitting there listening, and you're like, oh, my turn's coming up. What am I, so you're actively looking. You're active. Oh, my turn's coming up. What am I going to share this time? So it's the whole exercise of it is pulling your mind into looking for something that's positive, which is a great start. And one of the other things was that I remember one woman, she shared something that I didn't even realize that I had. I had never thought about it as something to be grateful for. And it was really simple. She was just saying how much she appreciates it that her husband makes her a cup of tea every night and delivers it to her wherever she is in the house. And I was thinking, I've got that. Like I've never thought about that as something to be grateful for. So I'd been just saying like thanks, just out of habit, but I had not been even close to actually receiving that gesture. And so that one in particular, I started to see what was behind the cup of tea. The thoughtfulness, his desire to take care of me, his way of sharing love, and when I let that kind of gratitude couple on top of my thank you, it made my thank you, I'd hate to overdo the word transform, but it transformed my thank you from, yeah, habitual manners to this gift, like to really, really share. And I may have still been saying the exact same words, thanks, but the energy behind it was different. And it became a really fun part of our evening, like, oh, here comes my tea delivered by this sexy man, where would I be without my tea? And I remember once he asked me if I could make the tea, and I was like, I don't even remember how to make tea anymore, darling. And I just sat down and he was like, no, of course, and it was funny, this thing, because he's rolling his eyes like, oh, I'll make it. And he gets up to make it. But you can see the little hero gene inside him is like, oh, I have to make the tea because she likes me making the tea. He feels appreciated. It was really cool. So that was just one little thing where I was thinking, oh, how many more opportunities are there like this in my relationship? And I wouldn't have realized if we hadn't gone around and done that exercise together. So it is powerful to just be reflecting, and it's also powerful to share, which is why I think another reason why community when it comes to this work is so important. Sharing with other women and, bringing this to life for ourselves and for them is very powerful. So let's share a little bit now. Welcome, Marietta, to the live, the very
Hi.
quiet live.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry
don't
for being late.
apologize. It's fine. I know it's a replay challenge, but I still have to present the call, so I may as well make it live, right?
Mm.
So Vera's been busy with her gratitude list, so I might put you on the spot with it, Marietta. But what we'll do is we'll look at our lists and we'll just share maybe two or three things that just jump out as exciting, things that maybe you hadn't like realized, um, realized recently. So I can go first. One of the things that I have here on my list that I'm grateful for but would often slip is that I feel grateful that he thinks I'm sexy. Like he still um, acknowledges me, even though I'm old and post babies now. He still will tell me that he thinks I'm sexy and attractive, and he might be joking a little bit, but I love that he still says that because it makes me feel sexy and attractive, which is obviously helpful in the dynamic. So I love that he expresses that and bothers to tell me, and he doesn't say things like, well, you're not where you used to be. Like he doesn't even joke. He just tells me that I'm still sexy. So that's nice. One of the things I also love is that he cares about other people a lot. He will often like ask me about my friends or family. Yeah, he's very caring. And I actually had one, I was adding to a list on my phone as we were doing that. And I had one like, if the boys are ever sick, like vomit sick, this is a weird one. But you know, at night, if you're a mum, maybe you're the same as here, but me, like, I'm the one getting up 99% of the time if they need something in the night. And they're older now, they're 4 and 6, but it's still me. However, when they're sick, he gets up and he just does the sick. He does the sheet, he gets the sheets, he'll get the bucket, he'll sort out all the yucky stuff. And I'm grateful because it means I can still tend to them. So it's just a little thing, but I think, well, it's nice that um he just does the dirty stuff. He just does the dirty stuff and kind of supports me in being a mum. And that is a weird it's a weird one to share because it's not very nice. But for me it's like a metaphor. He often will take the grungy part of the parenting so that I can do the connecting part and really be the mum that I want to be. And I appreciate that. He really sees my, I guess, my desire, and he doesn't just run to do the fun part and leave me with the sheets, if that makes sense. So I didn't write that one today, but I saw it and I thought, that actually, I like that. It's just nice to recognize the parenting dynamic. Vera, do you have any weird or wonderful things on your list?
No, I was actually surprised that I was here struggling to. I thought it would become a bit easier because I've done gratitude lists before.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, but clearly, this is why I should be doing them every day.
Mm,
Um, so anyway, I did write. I'm grateful for my husband for providing for us.
mm-hmm.
He comes home to us every night.
Yeah,
He spends time with me. And now I've added something from your list, which I never thought of to be grateful, wh-
yeah,
that he is caring and does ask for about my family and my friends and how are they. Um,
nice.
and he always does that, and I've never actually thought to be grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah, some hidden things in there, right? And it is nice. Yeah, beautiful. Well, that's a good start, Vera. I hear that. As you know, relate very much to it being being hard. Marietta, what are you grateful for? What's something special you can share about your husband?
Um, I'm grateful that he's easygoing. He doesn't make a fuss about a messy house or bits and pieces for dinner. So he's just so very easygoing. He wouldn't care. I just asked him tonight what did he want to have for his birthday dinner
Mm,
because it's his birthday on Friday, and he said, "Oh, I don't want you to go to any fuss or any trouble. I'll be happy with baked beans on toast."
aw, sweet.
Um, yeah, but yeah, just that he always seems to take everything in his stride. He doesn't appear stressed. He's just very easy going and just takes things as they are. Nothing sort of ruffles him. He's
Mm,
quite the opposite to me, I guess. But it just he'll tell me, it'll be all right, or don't worry, and
oh, that's nice.
just yeah, he'll just comfort me or take my hand, or yeah, just be the brunt of everything that's happening in a way as well. Just always, I just feel like um, I'm safe. I can not hide, but I can just be protected
Mm,
because he's a very vocal, um, sort of radical person as well,
yeah.
and he has no qualms about telling people what he's doing or why he's doing it, whereas I always will feel like a bit like I have to fit in, but he doesn't feel that at all. So I just admire that he is so much his own person, and I'm
Hmm.
grateful for that because it's been helpful for me over the years just to have a strong man because it, the the brunt ends with him, if you like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hear. Yeah, it
so
sounds like a very
wait.
like reassuring. and very masculine presence in your life. And
Yeah.
it just lets you to relax in and be you and
Yeah.
receive. And that sounds like a nice dynamic, Marietta. I'd be very grateful for that too. Yeah. Yeah, gorgeous. Very nice. Okay, well, I hope you ladies have all unpaused and have some momentum at least on your list. And if it has been hard to write this list, don't worry, because it's so normal. It's super normal. We have a thing that probably most of you would have heard of the negative bias. So I like to think of it as if you're walking down the street and you find, let's say, $5, and you're like, oh, there's $5. Like, it's a nice little perk. Like, pick it up and think about buying yourself a coffee or an ice cream or something. It's like, ah, that's nice. But if you walk down the street and you realize you've lost 5, it's really, like, how did I lose it? Where did I lose that? You know, how did this happen? You're frantically, where's that $5? I know I had it. You know, the response is so much bigger. We have this in all of us in human psyche. And so when it comes to relationships, I find that this comes to play here, because the pain of not having something seems to outweigh the pleasure or the gratitude of having something. And so it's really normal and natural to start kind of leaning in towards those things, because they feel more significant, even though they may not be. And so this skill is about recognizing the tendency to focus on that, to see that it's kind of not productive to our vision. It's not serving us. It's certainly not serving our partners. And also just having a bit of grace, like, I've fallen into this pattern. This is really normal. What can I do to change it? Okay, well, here's a skill that I can turn to. So now you have part 1 of what you can do with that, and that's just get stuck into a list. I had to do this week, honestly, because I was feeling so overwhelmed with this new chapter. And I think I got 6 things. And then I kind of gave up. I was in a cafe and it was really sunny, and I was like, I choose self-care. Like, the sun is so nice. So I did kind of bail on it, but I bailed because it was hard. I was finding it hard. So, it comes in waves, but I think it's a practice. And as I said, it's a discipline, because we are retraining our mind to focus on the future, what we want, what's important, and move away from the opposite. So I mentioned this idea of this spouse fulfilling prophecy, the SFP. So we're going to do one of these today. So this is a super, super powerful tool, practice. It's like an affirmation for your husband, I suppose. It's what we go to flip or change a negative belief about our partner that is keeping us stuck. So it's not about whether it's true or not. It's about whether it's keeping us stuck or not. Stuck in present and past instead of present and future. So it's something that we don't want to believe, we wish was different, but we can't help but focus on it because of that negative bias, because it hurts, or because it's a lack in our relationship. These beliefs that we're talking about create walls, and they block us from experiencing connection. They can even stop us from loving him as much as we used to, or as much as we could. As I said, they fill up the space where the newness could drop in. That space that it could come in is filled up with these beliefs. So, for example, I had this belief, and I actually had this from the moment I met my husband. We met as flatmates, so we didn't really get to pursue or date. That's why I related to some of you on the WhatsApp group who had like an intense start to relationships. I've lived with my partner since I met him, so it was definitely an intense start. And I had these little red flags that turned into a very unhealthy belief that he was like incapable, or I don't really know the word, but if you can imagine, incapable, not confident, not successful enough. Like, there was something really, it probably came into confidence. He wasn't confident enough, ambitious enough. And because I feared that was true, I focused on it all the time. And of course, because I was focused on it, I found plenty of evidence to support it. And every time something reinforced that belief, I would add it to my mental list and become stuck in that cycle that I talked about. And as much as I wanted to feel differently, gratitude alone was not enough because my mind kept telling me I can be grateful for all these other things, but I have no gratitude in this area because here's all the reasons why. So this is where an SFP came in. So I thought about what is the new belief? What is the belief that I want to have? So I came up with Andrew is the leader of our family. That's what I wanted. Kind of like Marietta is describing with her husband. I wanted this confident, ambitious, successful man leading our family. Now, this was a stretch for me because at the time I saw myself as the leader. I was the one who took all the initiative, made the decisions, kept things running. But what I actually wanted was a strong man to, to step up and to lead and have a clear vision for our family. So this was, yeah, as I say, it was a stretch. I didn't feel like I had it, and I felt like I was the role. So when I'm talking about that space for newness, I was sitting in the space, that was my throne. So I wanted him to do it, but I was really in the way. So I started to go on this evidence hunt. So I'm starting to consciously look, and we talked about that word in Vera's check-in, when we're not consciously choosing anything, something,
Yeah.
we will
Put it
revert
on
to
YouTube.
autopilot. I'm just going to mute you, Mary. We will revert back to the autopilot. So when we talk about going on an evidence hunt, we're talking about inviting conscious energy, conscious thought to start looking for evidence of this new belief that we want to start to cultivate and really own. So I'm looking for any moment, no matter how small, where he showed leadership, confidence, or motivation. And because what we focus on grows, I started to find it, sometimes in really unexpected places. So as I said with the list, I'll start looking in areas I'll broaden my search, right? Because I need to have some wins. I need to find something. So I will broaden the search. So in this case, I'm starting to look for leadership, confidence, or motivation in his work or his parenting, maybe the way he carried himself, anywhere where I could notice it, make a point to acknowledge it, maybe stretch and express gratitude for it. And when I'm doing this, I am reinforcing this new belief. So if you have ever looked into neuroscience, there's a saying, neurons that fire together, wire together. So we're talking about firing these new neurons in these new patterns, these new beliefs, so many times that they start to wire together. They start to become a pathway, a natural thought. And you'll see over time that your autopilot will change. So when you are doing those mundane things like the dishes or whatever it might be, your autopilot is like, there was that leadership again, versus, oh God, there's no leadership. So it's not instant. It's not like you're going to write a new belief today and walk away with it. It takes the discipline, it takes the evidence hunt, it takes the change in consciousness, and it takes that neuroscience, but it will become, and it can become, a new belief. So when it came to acknowledgement and sharing gratitude, in my case, I started saying things like, I trust you. I started saying, you're the leader of the family. I love the way you take charge of things. And something shifted. And I remember once in particular, I forget what I said exactly, but it was something to the effect of, you're the leader. Like you are the leader of the family. Like we'll do what we think, we'll do what you think is best. And he you see it in movies and stuff, it was like he stood up taller, he kind of like blushed, he put his shoulders back, it was like, yeah, I am the leader, like I can do this. He's like, suddenly he had this woman standing behind him, like supporting him, versus like in front of him with her arms folded, like, when are you going to show any leadership? You could see his body language changed. So when I saw that, my goal became, I want to be his number one fan. I want to have his back. I want to trust him. I want to support him. The more I leaned into this, the more he stepped up, the more he took initiative, the more he embraced this role. And it became easier and easier. Like I said, it wasn't inauthentic, it was a stretch, but it was uncomfortable. And so for me, that's the fulfilling prophecy of Andrew as the leader of our family. became a really self-fulfilling cycle. And so I'm hoping that that will reiterate how powerful this can be. SFPs don't shift how we, well, they do. They shift not only how we see them, but they will shift how they start to show up. When they feel your acknowledgement, when they feel your support, when they feel your appreciation, your gratitude, they will continue to do more of that. Because as I said at the start, that is their goal. That is what they want to do, is make you happy. They want to know that what they are doing is impacting you in a positive way, you know? So that's what starts to create the change. So at first, it was really just a shift in my own focus, a simple choice. I don't like this belief, I'm going to choose a new one. Really subtle change. But it became so big. It became the thing that he believed about himself. And within months, I would say, I had that vision that I wanted, this capable, strong, inspired man leading our family. And he led us to Europe. We moved from New Zealand back to Europe, and it was a huge decision, and it was hard, but the cohesion in the family, because he had made that decision, I was in full faith and trust. I was supportive instead of critical. It made the seamlessness of it would not have been there if I'd sat there with the old belief in fear the whole time. And just talking about ripple effect, can you imagine on my kids when they see this unit of mum and dad supporting each other, dad being the strong leader, mum being the supporter? It was powerful. It was really, really incredible. So that's what we're going to do today, is we're going to create your own SFP. Now, it does not have to be as big and deep maybe as that one. It doesn't have to be this huge thing that you're going to change the dynamic of leadership in your family. It could be something really small, something really simple. But I encourage you to go for a big one this week, because A, why not? B, you're supported. You've got women around you in this group, and you have access to me in your DMs. So you are so supported. So pick whichever one you want, but don't be afraid of picking the big thing. So you start by identifying a challenge. Let's say the biggest challenge you have with your partner or your relationship right now. So what is the belief or the story that you keep telling yourself, that's the autopilot, that is causing, frustration or pain or disconnect or disassociation or unattractiveness? You might have 5 of them, and that's okay. Let them flow. You can flip into desires on another day, but let's get them down here, because once you've done this for one, you'll see how it all unfolds. So once you've picked one, well, yeah, that's the next thing, is you have to pick one. Pick one to focus on this week. And we are going to flip it into the new belief. So what is the new thing that you want to believe? What is the spouse-fulfilling prophecy, the SFP, that reflects the experience you want to have? Regardless of whether you've got it 0%, 1%, 50%, what do you want it to look like? So here's just a couple of examples. If your belief was, he's not affectionate, your new SFP could be like, he shows love in meaningful ways. He's always looking for ways to pleasure me, or to please me, or to touch me, or whatever it is. Our relationship is full of affection. If you are separated, remember, we're focusing on a belief that could still improve your current relationship with this man. So it might be something like, he is so caring and respectful. Our communication is so peaceful. So whatever it is, we're looking for, obviously, the flip, the positive. And now we're going to start looking to find some proof. Okay, so we want to find even the smallest piece of evidence to support you in your new SFP. If you can't find any, and if this would be rare, but if you can't find any, it may be that your SFP is too much of a stretch. And so, like Laura will say, we don't want to tear. We want to stretch, but we don't want to tear or tear. Tear, Kiwi. And so if you are really, really struggling with evidence and this is just feeling too far-fetched, then just peel it back a little bit. Like instead of there is peace between us, it could be things are more peaceful between us, or like there is peace emerging between us. Something like this. You want to stretch, but not be impossible. Because if it's impossible, you won't do it. You'll write it down today and then you'll forget about it. And next week I'll say, what's your SFP? And you'll be like, what? I don't know. I don't even remember what I wrote. So it's got to be a little bit accessible, just a tiny bit, so that we can start seeing those subtle signs, those moments, those little actions, no matter how small, anything that starts to align with that new belief. Could be something as simple as he smiled at me today. He made my coffee today. He asked about my day. It could be anything. So I'm asking you to think like a lawyer. Imagine it is your job to convince the jury. Like if I asked you to convince the jury that your partner was incapable, that you'd made a mistake, that he wasn't good enough, you could. If I asked you if your life depended on it to convince them of that, you'd find plenty of evidence of that. And likewise, the opposite is true. If I asked you to convince the jury that you're the best husband ever, best partner ever, and that you were so in love and this was the most happiest you could imagine, when things are good between you, it's just blissful and amazing. And if your life depended on it, you would be able to find evidence of that as well. So it's really about what you're choosing. So this is what I'm saying is I want you to become like a lawyer. Imagine that jury standing in front of you and your job is to convince them of this new SFP. So we're looking for any proof at all. And I promise it will get easier, but this is the starting point. So we're coming back to that concept of what we focus on grows. It will grow. It will get easier. You will see more and more of it. The evidence hunt is key. This is the most important part of it. So you want to write down your new SFP and at least one piece of supporting evidence that you have that or that is coming to you. Okay. Vera or Marietta, would you like to share your SFPs?
Yep, I've got one. So I've got quite a list here, but I'll just read it. Paul finds me interesting and funny and smart.
Yeah.
He is amazed at me and what I know. He goes out of his way to spend time with me.
I love it. He's
So
amazed by me, did you say? How cool is that one?
Yes.
I love that. Yeah.
He's amazed. He is amazed by me.
I love that. Yeah.
So the evidence that I have so far is that he always scoots over in bed so close to me. I'm on the edge and he's right behind me, sort of thing. So that's my evidence that he wants to spend time with me. It's
Nice.
not exactly what I'm going for, but I'll work on that.
Yeah, cool. And what about the fact that he's amazed by you? He's so interested and curious about you. Have you got any evidence of that?
Yeah, he'll say to the girl sometimes, "Oh, your mum is very smart," or something like that.
Oh,
So
that's nice. Yeah.
yeah,
All right, write that down. Write it down 5 times.
okay.
That's a great piece of evidence. Yeah, nice start. Cool. I love that so much. He's amazed by me. That's one of my favorites. Very cool. Vera, what are you flipping? What have you got?
So my biggest pain point at the moment is that he sometimes prioritizes other people's desires above when they kind of negatively impact me. So,
Right.
if his mother says give me a call or calls him and I think it's interrupting with our dinner or it's interrupting with something else or something that he said he would do with me and now no longer he's doing it, even though he said,
Yeah.
oh, let's go out for a walk, and now all of a sudden his mother's called and that's it, we're not going out for a walk.
Right.
So I feel like, and this is when my dishwashing, I'm trying to gather evidence of every single time he's ever put her first, that's how I've decided to put it. Even though I can also find lots of evidence when he does want to make me happy, and please me, but then I always think, yeah, but not above his mother, because if she has
Okay,
decided she wants attention, then she gets her attention.
sure.
So
Okay.
I need
Yeah.
to flip that.
Okay. So what is the flip? What is it that you
The
want to
flip,
experience?
um, that's what I was struggling with. The flip could be that he prioritizes my happiness and peace.
Nice. Yeah. I think that's powerful because I hear the temptation to write, he prioritized me over her, like
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
make it about
That's what I
her.
thought. Yeah,
Exactly. So I love the awareness there of like, I'd be really over on their paper there, like I'd be or where the control would be coming in and the focus becomes on his relationship with her, right? So I really love that you can see that. And so
yeah.
you're bringing it back. So if you felt, what were the words you used? Peace, and was it peace and
Happiness and
happiness?
peace.
Yeah. So if you felt like your peace and your happiness were his priority, then
Yeah,
would his relationship with his mum be of any concern to you? If
yeah,
you felt those things,
yeah.
would it?
This is where my struggle is because, yeah, I think obviously I'm happy that he has a good relationship with his mum. I'm happy that he likes to please all the women in his life.
Yeah.
There's plenty of evidence he does that, but obviously sometimes it kind of there's a conflict, right? Because I feel like
Mm,
if you've said you're going to do something with me, then you should stick to your word.
sure. Yeah. And okay, so whose paper are you on there? Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's okay. So let me ask you, when you see him not sticking to his word, let's say, so there's the focus,
yeah.
he's not sticking to his word. What does it mean for you, Vera? Like when he
Like he's
doesn't,
prioritizing someone else over my. I'm like, yeah, I can let her down. It's fine. She's always going to be there anyway. Who cares? I've let her down.
well, that's again like how
But
he's
then,
feeling, right? How do you feel? So when that happens, what does Vera feel?
uh, really upset and let down.
Mhm.
Unimportant, actually, yeah, because I feel like it's more important for him to do what his mother wants than what I want. Yeah,
I get
so
you. Yeah,
unimportant
right.
or
Okay,
less
cool.
important.
So that's where this SFP comes in, right?
Okay.
So when you really look at it and you really come onto your paper, we want to be thinking about how do we feel. I probably didn't do a good example of expressing that in mine because I felt directionless. I felt like I had to be in control. So what I wanted was to feel relaxed and led. So
Yeah.
he's the leader. So when you come back there, what I can hear is something really important that you feel, was it unimportant? Was that the word you used?
Yes.
Unimportant. So what's the opposite of that, right?
Um, okay. Important. Yeah. Prioritized.
Prioritized, important, and then you have happiness and peace. So
Yeah.
those are the words that I would be playing with because if you felt really prioritized, really important, and that your happiness and your peace were part of that priority,
Hmm.
then I would bet or I would guess that no matter how many times he called his mum, it would become less important because
Hmm.
if on your paper you were feeling taken care of, important, prioritized, then that becomes less of a, you know,
Hmm.
that's his choice. It's not impacting you, right? If you were
Yeah.
feeling these things. So that's the way to guide yourself back. So if anyone else is in Vera's boat where you're really getting stuck on how can I possibly flip this because he does do these things, or there is this reality, you want to really come back to your paper. What is it that you don't have? And then, so what is it that you would want? So I don't have that feeling of importance and value, and that's what I want. I want to be his priority. So what could your inspiring SFP be there?
Um. Um. My happiness and peace is important to him.
Nice. Yep, great. Great. So I hope everyone can see the difference there for Vera and how much more kind of, what's the word? It's like just there's a clarity there. And so then now, can you think of some evidence where your happiness and peace is important to your husband?
Yeah.
Just- What can you think of? Give me an example.
um, yeah, he's recently paying for my gym membership because I said I wanted to go swimming, and then he said, "Oh well, I'll pay for your gym membership, so just choose the best one around, and that is close to you. Doesn't matter the price.
Oh, wow.
It will make you happy. So just."
Oh, Vera. Oh, well,
So
that's
I
a
started.
huge piece.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
How do you feel when you recall that piece of evidence?
Um. Yeah. I know he prioritizes or wants to see. He wants to make me happy, and he
Yeah.
looks to away. So yeah, yesterday when I said my legs hurt, and my back hurts, even though he also had a headache, he was massaging my back, and I was like, "You don't really have to do that. You have a headache. Go to sleep."
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for sharing that because that brings up the last point that I want to make, right? Is well, you've gone into receptivity there, right? What would you
Yeah.
rate your receiving on a 1 to 10 there? How was your receptivity in that moment?
The receptivity, no, because I was more concerned that, he didn't really need to massage me, that he had his own pain. So
Yeah,
yeah, my receptivity is usually not that great.
mate, you're not the only one. It's so normal. But I want to highlight that for everybody here because, like I said at the start, our men want to make us happy. And if anyone's got sons or nephews, or you're a teacher and you see little boys, you see this from a very, very young age. Mum, look what I did. I swept the floor and it's a terrible job. They want the acknowledgement. They want to know that they helped. They want to be the little heroes and it's ingrained in them. It's part of who they are. And I'm sure all of you will be looking at Vera's husband and seeing he wanted to make Vera happy, no matter how bad his headache was. Her happiness is so important. He's paying for her gym membership. He said, don't even get quotes, just pick the best one for you. I want you to be happy, and there'll be other women on the call, Vera, who are like, oh, I wish I had that. There will be. And so you have that. And so
Hmm.
the reason why this is important is going back to the overarching skill here of gratitude. If we're not in touch with this,
Mm.
we cannot let them know that they're doing a good job, that what we're seeing we like, that action is in alignment with the future and the vision that we want. So your vision of being important and cared for, you want more of that, right? That's the whole reason it's on your list. You have some
Hmm.
evidence of it, but you want more of it. It's not feeling like enough. It's feeling like a pain point.
Hmm.
So if you want more of it, he needs to know, our men need to know that that makes us happy. And if you have no evidence of it, it's very hard to say that because then you're in the realm of, if you did this, I'd be so happy, which is a bit controlling, right? So when we have a piece of evidence, we have a very easy and natural opportunity to share exactly that. Last week when you said get any membership, I didn't really think about it at the time, but now when I reflect on it, like I felt so taken care of. Thank you so much. Like I'm so grateful that you care about my happiness. I'm so grateful that you prioritize my happiness. I'm so grateful that I'm so important to you. You want to bring in the language, you want to let him, and I know, I bet my life on he'll be like, huh, well, that felt good. Where can I do more of that? God, that felt good. I feel so successful as a husband, as a man. How do I look? How can I get more of that from Vera? How can I get more of that from Kayla? they will start looking. And then you get more evidence. That's when you create the cycle. So that's why these things, they're all in little stages. They're all so small. They're so important. So finding the evidence is a huge, huge win. Celebrating the evidence in your relationship, in your energy, or with him is going to blow this up, right? It's so important. So that's where, I mean, this is why you can see it's the double duty, right? It makes us feel better. We're starting to see more of what we like. It becomes easier to express that. And it's amazing for them because suddenly they are successful partners instead of falling short and being criticized. Like my husband said, I'm more inclined to do the things she wants now that I'm not being berated all the time. Now that I'm celebrated and acknowledged and feeling successful, I'm out there looking for more opportunities to do that. So that's how it works. That is how it works. It's so simple. It's so accessible. It just takes that discipline, that conscious effort. And remember what I was saying about the difference between inauthenticity and discomfort. If it feels uncomfortable, that's good because that's change, right? You're moving into a new space. So that's what we're adding to our homework now this week, ladies. So we want to be continuing with our self-care. So remember, we're aiming for 3 a day. Sorry, there's your notes on SFPs. So continuing with the self-care. And I would love to add, and this is a big one. This is easy to just be like, yeah, I'll do that, and then not do. I want you to try to share gratitude. If you can hit 3, you will be winning. 3 gratitudes every single day. And bonus points if it aligns with your SFP, if you're bringing in the language of this new thing that you're trying to bring forward. You want to get over the resistance and the vulnerability of giving them some credit because it serves you. It's going to serve you and the relationship. So that's the thing. Self-care, bringing in the gratitude, continuing to build awareness of control and continuing to play with those cheap phrases, whatever you think, I would love, I hear you. And I would love on WhatsApp to see, obviously I love celebrating your self-care, any of the wins, but I would love to see your SFPs and some evidence this week. So I'll be in there reminding you of, or prompting you to share that because we want to, see it. We want to see it and we want to celebrate. And as you saw, even on the call, even though there's only 3 of us here, when we share, we get ideas, we get inspired. It helps everybody. So it's not just about I don't know what it could be about other than enhancing everybody's week, right? It's powerful when we share. Okay, so that's your homework. And now I said I wanted to.
Can I just ask a question about the homework?
Yes.
You said share 3 gratitudes. Is that on WhatsApp or with our spouse?
With your spouse.
Okay.
But you can share them on WhatsApp too.
Okay.
Yes, we want to be sharing it, or just people around you, but we want to be getting in touch with that gratitude. So I mentioned I wanted to share something special that is just for the Spark ladies. So I'm going to tell you about that today just so that you've got a chance to think about whether it might be something that you want to do. Now it's called a love audit. Here it is. So a love audit is this, it used to be a bit of a relationship assessment tool that I did, and some of you may have already done that. It is now expanded into a 90-minute private session, and this isn't available anywhere else. This is not on my website. It's not something that I do a lot of. This is where we take a deep dive into your relationship, into the dynamics at play, so that we can really explore what is holding you back from the connection you crave. What is in the way and how can you move through it? What tools, what skills, what cheat phrases can we lean on to break that up and to make it more accessible? Getting beyond the net, the emotional turmoil, beyond the disconnection, and really starting to restore and create the relationship that feels nourishing and loving and alive and exciting again, something that's evolving and something that you can really be proud of. So it's a long session, 90 minutes. It's kind of more of a mini workshop, I suppose. And what you're going to gain from this is a clear understanding of what's driving the dynamic. So what's really behind the current situation, the patterns, more of a vision. So some more clarity around the vision that you want to work towards. So again, flipping that focus from where it's been to where it could go. Clarity around your personal focus areas. So what are the things that we can really take responsibility for? What can we let go? What can we lean into? What are I call it like the low-hanging fruit, like what can we change that's going to create a ripple effect? And you'll get direct coaching around that. So we'll be doing some workshopping, but then we'll do some coaching so that you get a really deep understanding and some tangible steps and invitations so that you can start doing that. And you'll really walk away feeling more peaceful, because this is going to be taking that kind of muddle, like how am I here? There's a few of you who are here because the consistency's fallen off, or the maintenance is kind of, it's patchy, and so it's just really kind of going, I know why that's happening now. It's that sense of like, there's peace. I feel empowered and hopeful because I can see what's happening, and to really be back in motion again. So as a Spark participant, you're going to have access to this for $197 US, and these are normally $250. And that's going to be available to you until September the 30th, that rate. So we can talk more about it on Thursday's Q&A call, but I just wanted to share it now in case you're starting to feel the pull back into this work, or you might like to book it. I thought maybe some of you would want to do it one next week, so you can kind of keep the momentum of the Spark Challenge and really personalize the content that we're going through today. So there's the opportunity there. So I'm going to pop the link for this in the replay email today. So anyone who wants to explore it further, then that is there for you. So as I said at the start of today, I am pregnant. I'm 33 weeks pregnant, so third child is really getting close now, and I'm also in the process of merging my business with another beautiful coach, so you'll all hear about that down the track. So the point is, I'm not going to be making these sessions really available past like the middle of October. So if it is calling you, trust the nudge and grab one, because they're powerful, and you really don't have to figure this all out on your own. Like, there are tools and there is support. So yeah, that is going to be there for you if you would like. So that is that. If you have any questions, just reach out on email or WhatsApp. If you're not on WhatsApp yet, as I said, just click your number through and send me your country code so that I can get you in that chat. The next call on Thursday is not so much content, it's more of a Q&A. So bring any questions that you have about SFPs, gratitude, any of the cheat phrases, anything that we've covered today. If you've been experimenting with it and it's gone AWOL, it's like been received weirdly, or it didn't feel good, or it was strange, whatever, bring any of your questions and we will have a very like informal and open conversation on Thursday. You can ask me anything about my relationship, my story, my transformation. I am a very, very open book. So Thursday, that's what we're going to be talking about. I think from memory, I have to check, Thursday's call is the flip. So better for those of you who are in the States. So sorry that I can't get the right times for everybody, but that's a different, completely different time zone, that call. So hopefully those of you in the States can join that one live. And yeah, any questions, just reach out. Otherwise, we'll see you ladies on Thursday. Keep the chat going in WhatsApp. I love seeing how this is coming to life at your house. And until Thursday, I'll see you in there.
Thank you,
Thank
Kayla.
you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Lots of love. See you soon.
Good day.
See ya.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good day.
Bye. Bye.